Hello everyone, my name is Larseth, and welcome back to episode, what's this, 3, I think, of my World of Warcraft basics guide to the auction house and to, in turn, making gold. So this episode is going to be on, that's basically what is an item worth, or how do you figure out what an item is worth. So obviously, this is sort of a subject that is totally biased, really, towards players who've played for a long time, because they know a lot of this stuff already, although not everyone, so it's still useful. And for new players, it could be an incredibly difficult thing to find out what something is worth, because you've got no experience of, past expansions and, have seen how, various trends in the market and stuff like that, see generally what happens to the price of items over time. So, first and foremost, you can just ask in trade chat normally, but it seems like sort of the easiest thing to do, and it is, but you might not always get the answer you're looking for, or even close to a correct answer. So quite often people will post in trade chat. It is a pretty common thing. And I will normally answer, because I'll just mouse over whatever they post into chat and it'll pop up with all this detail, and I'll go, oh yeah, it's roughly worth this or that. Bear in mind that people quite often overinflate or just plain get the price wrong of items. Because you'll quite often see a chat, people selling items for such and such an amount. You'll mouse over them and you'll go, actually, they're worth like half that much. What are they doing? Or, it's worth twice that much. And, what are they doing in that case? But, I mean, you also have the chance that people could lie to you with the hope that you'll put something on the auction house and they can buy it at a cheaper price. I mean, that's just me being very cynical, but it's a possibility. So beyond that, I guess for newer players, the easiest way of doing it would be to use... Oh, let's minimize that. So these websites, the Undermine Journal and Tradescore Master, I mentioned in the last episode on terminology and stuff like that. And they are both absolutely brilliant websites to use for trying to figure out the price of items. Because it plain tells you. So, Tradescore Master, because it's got an add-on in, like a fully fledged auction add-on related to it, is probably, or actually not probably, it is the more popular one, by far. But I'm going to show the Undermine Journal first, just so you can see what it looks like. So these are all the EU realms. You can swap to US realms. I'm not sure there is stuff for Southeast Asia. Or any of the other, I think it's just EU and US. But then you go and choose your realm. I'm an Earthen Ring, so now you can see on here it starts coming up with stuff specific to Earthen Rings, so like most available items, potential deals, top sellers. So if you want to figure out how much an item is, well, I mean, you could just type it in there, or let's just say we go to, I don't know, where's tailoring? So tailoring, it'll now show me, of how many available there are of a given item, say Shaldor Ice Silk, what the current price is, and what the average price is, and then when it was last updated. If you go into the individual items, it gives you a lot more detail, as you can see here. So this is really useful. You'll find that, and the Undermine Journal and Tradescore Master will have slightly different figures, but it shouldn't be so different that it would affect it too much. It's normally a very small amount. One thing that is important to note, and you will see on both Tradescore Master and the Undermine Journal, is that you also get an EU price. So this is all market prices. This is specific to your realm, whereas the rest is specific to the entirety of your region. Now, this region prices is very important for items that are a lot rarer, so like rare transmogs, rare recipes, stuff like that. Whereas for like materials like this, it's so specific to an individual realm because there's so many of it that it doesn't really matter about the EU cost. It's mainly your just realm cost. So if we go on to, let's select our Earthen Ring EU, and then we'll go to Is it going to come up with it? Shaldor Ice Silk. There you go. So you'll see it opens up, you know, a similar sort of looking page. I find that Under My Journal provides you with a lot of information regarding sort of postage amounts and price over time in terms of like what days of the week it's more expensive, yada yada yada. Oh, there goes my phone. That's probably not a good idea. Whereas TSM is a bit more simplified. In any case, it still shows the same thing. Earthen Ring EU price, region EU price. So this is another really good way of knowing what stuff's worth. If you get the Trade Skill Master app, it'll update these prices into the game for you automatically. There is an app for Under My Journal, but you have to download it manually from Curse and update it on I think a weekly basis. It gets updated. So it's not as up to date as far as I'm aware. If you have TSM and you have all the stuff, you can also get, this is Fat Loot's gold blog. Hasn't been updated in a while, that I know of. And however, he has, I believe it's a he, has a transmog list, which you just import into TSM. It's just a copy and paste job. And that will produce you something that looks approximately like this. So it'll come up with all the transmogs grouped into prices. So if you have a transmog, or if you have a transmog that is valuable in any way, shape or form, it'll probably appear in this list somewhere. That means if you were to go to the auction house and just press the post button, where is it? Post button, and have transmog selected, anything in your bags that is in that category will be posted to the auction house. Chances are, if it's not in there, that's probably because it's not really worth much and won't sell. But all of these tooltips with all the prices will appear for every single item, regardless of whether they're in a group or not. So, I mean, really, the Trade Skill or the Trade Skill Master app and add-on in-game, or the Under My Journal app in-game, is probably the best bet for trying to figure out what something's worth. Over time, you'll begin to learn what stuff is worth in terms of, you know, is it a rare item? There are certain items which are incredibly rare in the game, so people will pay lots of money for them. There are transmogs, again, which are incredibly rare. There are recipes, which are incredibly rare. Some people collect a lot of recipes or various items, learn them on their characters, but they basically want to try and get every single recipe. That's what a lot of people do, which means that it doesn't have to be brand new stuff in this expansion that's actually worth stuff. It could be stuff from like vanilla World of Warcraft that is still worth a considerable amount of money. So as a new player, I definitely recommend checking out both of those websites. And over time, you will begin to learn what, at very least, your server is sort of like in terms of prices for things. I'll be doing a separate video on the difference between small and large population servers. The one I'm on is probably one of the smallest on the entire EU region, which has its major downfalls. But we'll go on to that at a later date. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching this episode. I hope it was helpful in some way, and I will speak to you in the next one. Take care.